If India and Pakistan went to war in 2025, no anthem would play in the background. No cheers, no chants, just silence, followed by screams, smoke, and uncertainty. The first few hours would feel like confusion, a breaking news alert, a headline that doesn't quite feel real. Maybe a skirmish along the line of control, a convoy attacked, or a missile misfired. Something sudden, sharp, and irreversible. Then retaliation on both sides, jet engines roaring, targets locked, not just military bases but cities, airstrikes in the dead of night, explosions lighting up skies that once only held stars. Civilians, asleep just moments before, jolted awake to a new kind of fear. And then the questions start, not in governments or war rooms, but in homes. Will my child be safe at school? Will my husband come back from the border? Will there be food tomorrow? Will the internet even work? And in too many homes, will we survive the night? Hospitals would fill within hours, but doctors can only do so much when bombs don't differentiate. And in war, they never do. The line between soldier and civilian disappears. A father becomes a shield. A child becomes a casualty. A home becomes rubble. Both nations have millions in their armies. Both have modern fighter jets, long-range missiles, tanks, submarines, and both have nuclear arsenals. But what's terrifying is that one of these nations has no rules when it comes to using force. If the war escalates, if it spirals out of control, one side might choose to push the button, the unthinkable. And when nuclear weapons are involved, the consequences are nothing short of catastrophic. It's not about a military victory anymore. It's about survival. How do you count victory when your entire landscape, your cities, your homes are wiped off the map? If a nuclear weapon is used, we're no longer talking about just soldiers. It's about the world shifting. A single missile could unleash horror. Cities would turn to ash. Entire regions would be rendered uninhabitable. Radioactive dust would choke the air. The rivers and the crops would be poisoned for generations. Children who haven't even been born yet would suffer. War doesn't just break cities, it breaks lives, it breaks families, and the idea of winning becomes meaningless in the face of this destruction. No flag can fly high enough over a pile of broken homes. No national anthem can drown out the silence of the countless lives lost. And the truth is, civilian casualties would be inevitable. Innocent people caught in the crossfire. People who have no part in the political games, people who wanted to live, to love, to grow, and yet they become nothing but collateral damage. Streets once filled with life would now echo with empty sounds as buildings crumble and lives are ripped apart. The effects would not just be felt in the immediate moments of devastation. The long-term consequences would haunt both countries for decades to come. The economies would collapse. And not just the stock markets. People would lose their jobs, their businesses, their savings. The supply chains would stop. Transportation, trade, everything that once felt normal, gone. And what happens next? People would leave. They would flee. The ones who can. The ones who are lucky enough to survive the initial shock. Refugees flooding into neighboring countries, looking for safety in a world that no longer seems safe. How many would be taken in? How many would be turned away? Food would become scarce. Water would become contaminated. The rich may find safety in bunkers, but the poor, the people who don't have a place to run, they would bear the brunt of it all. They would suffer the most. They would bear the scars of a war that was not theirs to fight. And when it's all over, when the bombs stop falling and the smoke clears, what would be left? A broken land, cities reduced to rubble, economies shattered, thousands, perhaps millions dead. Survivors would search for some sense of normalcy, but it would be lost in the ashes. There would be no victory, no pride, no sense of triumph, just loss. The kind of loss that can't be quantified, the kind of loss that changes everything. What would victory even look like when there's nothing left to win? Both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. And it's this terrifying power that could push the situation to its absolute breaking point. A full-scale war would not only bring devastation to both nations, but to the entire region and beyond. The ripple effects would be felt globally, with economies teetering on the edge of collapse and innocent lives destroyed. So if war truly comes in 2025, it would be a disaster that neither country can undo. And we all know this truth deep down. It's not just about who's the strongest, it's about who survives the longest. War isn't about winning, it's about the aftermath. In the end, the war won't be remembered for who had the stronger military. It will be remembered